What's up, everybody? Welcome to the rePORTER Show. As you can see, I'm here alone. And I'm not lying to you. When I say I'm here alone, I am here alone. No camera crew, no co-host, no sound guy, no timekeeper. It's just me and a camera and a mic. We had some, I won't say misschedulings. We had some schedulings for the studio that ran into the time that I would try to do something for the weekly wrap-up. And now I'm here doing it all on my own. But it's whatever. I got to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I hate missing a week of sports, so I'm not going to miss a week of sports, man. I'm going to get it done any way that I can. I'm going to kick this one off with football. Football had a matchup against Texas College, the Steers. And honestly, going into this matchup, I was really hoping that we would pull out a win because, like I said last week, I wanted us to win out the rest of this year because it would look really good on our record, especially from where we've came from in the past. But what I'll say is, Texas College, y'all got to get a new SID. I don't know what y'all got going on over there, but they lack the ability to give well-informed statistics of the game is the way I'll put it. So I'm going off what little I know and what I could see. So all I can say about this game is it looked like we went away from our typical style of play. As you all know, we've been a very balanced attack offensively between passing and rushing. And that hasn't been like that in the past couple of years, but this year it's been like that, and it's been doing some really good things for us. But this time around, we got away from the ground game. I don't know why, and honestly, it probably hindered our offense, honestly, especially because Davian, our starting QB, went down in the second quarter. So not only do we have another QB in, but now we're putting more passes on him when this is his first start. This is his first game. At this point, I probably would lean more on the ground game. But because I wasn't there watching, maybe there was something that the coaches saw that clearly was that, we got to move away from the ground game. I don't know what they could have seen that could cause that to be the case, but it is what it is. We moved away from the ground game. We ended up losing this one 38-36, which is a tough loss. There was a quarter there in the second quarter where we got outscored 21-0. I don't know how accurate that is, but if it is accurate, we've had our downfalls with giving up huge quarters where we cannot bounce back. So sad to say that we dropped beneath 500 on the year, but we still have one more game, and hopefully we can make that back up. I know Josiah had a big game this time around, but like I said, the stats aren't accurate. I don't know how accurate they are. I know he had a big performance, probably a record-setting performance, but I'm not going to report those stats until I know they're official. So I'm going to still give you a shout-out, Josiah, for having a big game, and hopefully we can find those stats sooner rather than later. Let's take this one on to the next subject of volleyball. Volleyball had a matchup against USAO. And the last time we went to 5 sets versus USAO, and we lost 2-3. But this time around, it looked like they shouldn't have even been on the court with us. They looked terrible, and we looked exceptional. We swept them 3-0 with scores of 25-10 in set 1, 25-9 in set 2, and 25-16 in set 3. But the story of this one, really, was how many service aces we had. As a team, I believe we finished up with 11 service aces, which was really close to the school record. I believe the school record is 18 service aces in a match. And we had 11 in just 3 sets. So the team was really just honestly having their way with USAO. It was an easy win, and it looked good for us. And as a team, not only did we have 11 service aces, but we also had 11 blocks. And 2 out of the 3 sets, we were hitting above 300%. We had above a 300 hitting percentage. Anywho, like I said, as a team, it was really a great team performance. It wasn't like a bunch of individuals stood out, but as a team as a whole, we really did what we needed to do, and we ended up sweeping USAO. So then we would go into our last regular season matchup against MACU. And this matchup against MACU was a big matchup because it would determine whether we were tied for third or tied for fourth. But the way that that works is, if you're tied for third, that means there's a tiebreaker for third and fourth. If you're tied for fourth, that means it's a tiebreaker for fifth and sixth, basically. So it was either we were going to be third or fourth or fifth and sixth. And so I was really hoping that we would pull out this match, but we did not. If you keep up with volleyball, I'm sure that you know their history with MACU. Even though we beat them earlier this year in 5 sets, 3-2, our last 10 games, we're 1-9 against MACU. So y'all know the history against MACU it's a really tough win, man. If you're going to get the win, you got to really come out there and earn it. And we couldn't do it, man. Every set was pretty tight. Both teams had their fair share of runs, good defensive plays, but our problem was we could not close out sets. Set 1 was tied at 20. We lost that one 25-23. Set 2, tied at 16. Lost that one 25-22. Set 3, tied at 21. Lost that one 27-25. Now, we had more errors than we would have wanted in set 2 and 3, but just look at the team comparison, man. If you look at the team comparison, it wasn't like there was a large discrepancy between these stats. Of course, now they did beat us in basically every stat other than aces. So, yes, if you're looking at stats, you think they probably won, and they did. But it wasn't like we had a very bad match. It was just the fact that we couldn't close out the sets. And so it's been like that a couple of times this year where we get to that point where, we fight back to a tie, or we are way out in the lead and the other team fights back to a tie. But when it comes down to that tie near the end of the match, we tend to not be the ones to come out on top. So that was tough for us. So that ended up allowing us to be tied for fourth. And, of course, all that meant was we were either going to be 5th or 6th in the conference, and we ended up placing 6th in the conference. So our first matchup was going to be against that 3rd seed, John Brown. Now, John Brown was not really I won't say it was an easy win for us because we swept them 3-0 and they swept us 0-3. So we split the regular season. So it was really a toss-up for what was going to happen in this conference tournament. And that game has already happened, but we're not going to cover that until next week. So let's move on to men's soccer. Men's soccer had a matchup against Texas Wesleyan, a team we lost to recently 3-1. So I'm really hoping that we go into this game and make something happen first round of the conference tournament. And that's exactly what we did. Jamal started us off, man, off this corner kick. Had a great finish there to put us up 1-0. Then we came back later. Francis had a good look at the goal. It was deflected, but Vito, right place, right time, able to score a goal to make it 2-0. Texas West answered back quickly, though. After a nice through pass, they ended up getting their first goal of the game to make it 1-2. They would then come back after we left the man wide open on the other side of the field and tie the game back up at 2-2. They kept the offensive pressure on. Honestly, they put more pressure on, but Elliott with a great header, a save, a defensive save for us. So after 2 overtimes, it went to shootouts. So Jamal was the first one to cash in for us. No surprise there. Both goalies had blocks early on. Then from there, it was almost as if, we were just waiting for that first block. Then we get another block there by Tex West. They score again. We score again. It was back and forth. A goal by Elliott here tied it at 3-3. Tex West answered back, making it 3-4. We answered back by Jose, making it 4-4. Then a great save here. So all we need is to make the goal and we win the game. And that's exactly what we did. Nicholas stepped up, drilled in to the back of the net to cash in for us to move on to the next round. So the next round, we sadly had to face off against MACU. Number 1 seed, top ranked in the nation. I don't think they're the one seed in the nation, but they're number one seed in the conference tournament. But I know they're definitely in the top 10 of the national rankings. And so, as you all know, not a very easy opponent to play against, especially in the conference tournament. They're probably going to be playing at their best, and that's exactly what they were doing. It wasn't really much competition. MacU had all the offensive pressure. We barely got off any shots. We only had one shot on goal. MacU had 9 shots on goal with 21 shots total. So, as you can see just from that, you know that they had control of this entire game, and that would be the end of our season for NAIA. NCCAA is probably what's going to be coming up next for men's soccer. But let's go ahead and take this one on to cross country. Cross country was at the SAC Championships. On the women's side, for the 6K, we had one top 15 finish out of 73 contestants. And Immaculata Felipe Delgado placed 4th with a time of 23:15. And with that time, she qualified for nationals. As a whole, the women's team placed 4th overall. On the men's side, the 8K, we had 4 top 15 finishes out of 85 contestants. Evans Pilotic placed 3rd with a time of 25:04. That time qualified for nationals. David Hernandez placed 10th with a time of 25:36. Jay Sanchez placed 11th with a time of 25:42. And Matthew Gordon placed 13th with a time of 26:10. As a whole, the men's team placed 2nd overall. So Coach Miller and Coach Kirk turning some things around for that cross-country program. It's really good to see our women's team and men's team finish in top 5 of the conference. A 2nd place finish for the men's is really big. And 2 national qualifiers, 1 from the women's side and 1 from the men's side. So doing some big things. Let's take this one on to women's basketball. Now, women's basketball had a matchup against Our Lady of the Lake. And boy, we put our foot on their neck and did not let up. It was a quick start from our offense. We made it look easy. We had some very smooth play. Defense was creating offense. We put in a lot of pressure on them. And as always, no answer for Megan. This was another game that was over at the half, 51-30 at halftime, in which we would go on to win 112-59. Some stats from this one. Megan had 26 and 13, 11 for 14 from the field. And Caitlin had 22 and 9, 10 for 13 from the field. Off the bench, Popovich had 12. Now, the story of this game, though, is how well we shot from beyond the arc. Don't leave her open. Honestly, don't leave any of them open. They all probably gonna knock them down. But not only were we knocking down the open threes, we were really just, as soon as we catch that ball, if they was off of us, we was pulling it. We was pulling it. As you saw there, Bobby drilling one. You better step up. You better put a hand up. We were really trying to make it a point that we are going to be a three-point shooting team, and we're going to do it well. We're going to do it well. Because from recent years, I won't say recent years, I'll say within the last year, we did not shoot that well from the 3. But this year, I feel like they're trying to make a point that they're still that team that can shoot the ball well from the 3. As you see here, 11 for 25 from the field. From the 3-point, shooting 44%. And from the field, they shot 61%, 43 of 70. And from the free throw, a little less than where we wanted to be. But overall, this was a great game. Winning this one 112-59. As you all know, the first game they won like 114 to, I don't know what, something similar to this score. But these are 2 really hot starts to the season. So we had another matchup later on against Texas A&M San Antonio. Coming off a great performance, like I said, just a couple of days ago, probably feeling really good about themselves. They came into this game half-stepping. I ain't gonna lie to you. First quarter was pretty good, but we went into the half only up by 1 because in that second quarter, we got outplayed and we got outscored 25-20. The second half was exactly like the first half. Good third quarter, terrible fourth quarter, being outscored 20-16 and shot 29% from the field. Now, I'm gonna tell you what saved us from losing this game, because we didn't play that well. We did not play that well. But what saved us from winning this game, what saved us from losing this game, my bad, y'all, is Emily.
Thing.
Emily stepping up
And the Jaguars come
and
down
taking
court.
a charge here when it was 82 to
And a
78.
charge
Who knows
Lorenzo.
what would have happened after this, because they would go on to tie this game at 82. Now, if they would have scored that goal earlier, or if she didn't take the charge and she just ended up fouling and the girl knocked down both free throws, who knows what this game would have been just a couple seconds later. So big play from Emily there, keeping the momentum on our side, and ended up winning this one 86 to 82. I'm going to tell you why this game was so close, though. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because we had 23 turnovers. And TAMU San Antonio had 34 points off those turnovers. I said it in that first week against that matchup against Arlington Baptist where they had 20 turnovers. And I remember Tuck telling me, he was like, it's their style, their style of play. They get up and down the court really quick. So, every now and then they're going to have some turnovers. I don't care what your style of play is. If you have 20-plus turnovers, if you have 15-plus turnovers, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And so as a team, it don't matter how good you are, if you cannot limit your turnovers, you ain't going to make it too far. Great team, can't hold on to the ball. Great team that holds on to the ball, you probably going to be exactly where you want to be, and that's in that NAIA national tournament. Who knows how far y'all go if y'all limit those turnovers, man. Some of the stats from this one was Caitlin, 27 points, 10 for 16 from the field, 3 for 4 from the three-point. That was a big performance by her, and I know from the past year, she probably came into this year with some extra want to, honestly, because when you have to sit out, especially with it, honestly, being her senior year, and her having to come back another year to repeat that senior year athletically, she probably came into this year with a lot to prove, and she's been proving it these last couple of games, man. She's putting up double digits in every game. That was a quick one. I guess when I'm talking about myself, I go through some things really quickly. I hope this one doesn't suck, because honestly, I hate not being able to feed off of other people. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, certified nominee, even though you already know who it is, Evans Polotic, finishing third at the SAC tournament, man. That's big for you, bro. I hope that you do good things at Nationals. I don't know when that is, but of course we'll update you guys when we do find that out. Some upcoming games this week. Thursday, basketball, both men's and women's versus Langston. Women at 6, men at 8. Men, big matchup against Langston because they're the #1 ranked team in the nation. And I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Right now, we are on a ultimate low, starting off our season 0-3. So getting a win here would not only boost that team morale, but it would set a different tone early on in this season after starting out 0-3. On Saturday, wrestling will be at the Grandview Open. Basketball has 2 home matchups, men and women's versus Central Christian, women at 2, men at 4. Football will be away at Langston, and their last home game, not home game, I'm tripping, y'all, in their last regular season game, looking to close that season out at 500 overall and to close out the conference at 500 overall. Hopefully they can be, I think it's going to be 5-5. Let me check that for y'all since I got the time. I might as well check it. Yes, they're looking to close out their season at 5-5 and 4-4 in conference. So hopefully they can come back with a win. But that's all we got for y'all this week, man. Hopefully next week is a lot better than this one right here. We'll see y'all same time next week.